Welcome back to the Summer Rain channel. This week we're making a layered melt and pour soap. If you haven't done so already, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below. I post a new video every week. I also include a link to my blog where I have a written post. Let's go ahead and make our soap. So what I do is I go ahead and split each layer into its own heat-safe container. Go ahead and weigh out your melt and pour soap and just put it in there. That way you're only working with one layer at a time, and it's a little bit easier putting your soap together. And you're also going to need to make sure that you have some rubbing alcohol, and I have my fragrance oil and any colorant that you want to use. I'm going to go ahead and use mica powder. I have a red and I have a biodegradable gold glitter. So let's go ahead and heat our first layer. So our first layer of soap has been heated up, so we're going to go ahead and add our color. What I do is I use these little measuring scoops to make sure that I'm putting the same amount of color into each layer. And at the same time, we'll go ahead and add our fragrance oil. And then we'll go ahead and mix that up. And I just have this plastic mold that I happen to have handy that I'm going to be using today. If you're going to buy one, I would recommend a silicone mold. Like I said, this is just a mold that I happen to have on hand. So let's go ahead and pour our first layer. And then you always want to be sure to come in with some rubbing alcohol and just spray the top. Now we're going to allow this to cool down a little bit before we pour our next layer. So I went ahead and let this cool down a little bit. As you can tell, when I touch it, it still has some give, but it has a nice skin that formed on top. So we're going to go ahead and heat up our next layer. The reason why we want this layer on top is so we know that the soap is hard enough when we pour it, it's not going to break and the layers are going to combine. We want nice even layers. Went ahead and heated up our next layer. What I'm going to do is add our fragrance oil. I'm going to add just a little bit of biodegradable glitter. Go ahead and give that a good mix. What we want to do, take our rubbing alcohol, give the top layer a really good spritz. The reason why you do this is to help fully combine the two layers of soap. I'll go ahead and pour that in there. Go ahead and spray the top for any bubbles and allow that to sit. So now what we'll do is we'll come in with our measuring scoop again and put our mica powder. And at the same time, we'll add our fragrance oil and go ahead and mix it up. And we need to go ahead and give this a good spray with rubbing alcohol again to help the layers fully combine. And add our melt and pour soap. And then we just go ahead and spray one more time with rubbing alcohol. And now we're going to allow this to dry completely before we unmold it. Let the soap cool. So we're just going to go ahead and push on the bottom to release the soap from the mold. And there is our layered melt and pour soap. Hope you enjoyed the video.